Hello everyone, welcome again to FOSOTV. If you are new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notification. If you are a returning subscriber, you are welcome. Good to have you here once again on our channel. Alright, so today we're going to be looking at Genesis 15 and 16. We have concluded Genesis 14 and we have concluded Genesis 14 and 15 last month. We look at the example of Abraham, how we can apply it in our own lives and all of that. Still on lessons to learn from Abraham, there is something I want us to pay attention to today, right? So even though we know that God has given Abraham the promise of Isaac, God has promised Abraham that he's going to make him a father of one nation. He had told Abraham and Sarah that they were going to have a child, and his name will be called Isaac. But something happened in Genesis 16. Sarah wanted Hagar to bear a child for Abraham and all of that because, whatever God was saying, it was looking like whatever God had told them was not coming to pass. So Abraham and Sarah took matter into their own hands. That is what I want us to learn today. There are times that God will give us word that it's not looking like it. We must learn not to help God to fulfill his plan. Right? God has given us his word, even though past we have been looking at in the past month, God has given us his word. There are times that it is not going to look like it. We should not take matter into our own hands because we cannot help God to fulfill his word. That is what happened to Abraham and Sarah. We saw that eventually God rejected Ishmael, that's Hagar's child. God did not settle for what Sarah and Abraham did because God had a promise. God had given them a promise, and that's what he stick to, right? So even though Abraham and Sarah and Hagar came to the picture, they tried to help God. Abraham and Sarah, what they did by bringing Hagar to the picture was trying to help God fulfill his plan. There are times that God will give us what we want to try to make it happen by our own sense, by our own logic, by our own wisdom. No, that doesn't work for God. That is not God. When God gives us his word, only him wants to take the glory. Only God is going to fulfill his word, and only him always wants to take the glory. God always wants to take the glory for everything that happens in our life. God always wants to take the glory for everything that happens in our life. We must learn not to take matter into our own hands when we are dealing with God. There is nothing like taking matter into our own hands because we are dealing with God. God always wants to take the glory. We should not try to help God make this happen. No, we should not do that. And that is something we are learning. That is one thing that is one thing to learn from. That is one thing to learn from in Genesis chapter number 16. We're going to, for this month, we are going to be looking at Genesis 16 and 17, where we can see different lessons, different examples that we can apply to our own life and become better Christians, better believers in our walk with God. Don't forget to always study with us. Don't forget to read your Bible. Always come back as we look at these lessons from scriptures. We'll see you next week. Have a lovely time.